Hi, I'm Janelle Wagstaff, elementary teacher and author of the Stella Writes picture book series. Hopefully you already know Stella, but I'm here today to make a really exciting announcement, one that I've been waiting to make for quite a long time. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about Stella. If you already know Stella and her books, you know what she brings to your writing classroom. She helps students get excited about writing and to find the joy in the process and in their own voices. We seek to teach the whole child every day, and in doing that, we want to build their confidence and motivation so they can be successful in their endeavors. Well, Stella does a wonderful job of supporting those goals because she's a peer mentor for your students. She's a model of a young writer who's enthusiastic and successful, and she serves as a kind of cheerleader to your kids. In fact, I want to share with you just a few lines from some of the Stella books. I'll start with Stella Tells Her Story. Just a few of my favorites from this book. Of course, it's about how she writes a narrative, and something very exciting happens at the end. But on this page, after we've introduced the narrative, Stella says, "We all have stories to tell." And that's just her voice. She's always encouraging students to get involved in the writing type that particular book is about. We all have stories to tell. How true is that, right? This is much later in the book, toward the end, at a point where Stella has revised her ending and come up with a different one. And she says, "The second ending is way, way better. It makes me feel proud. I love it." And she's talking about the narrative she wrote about her Oma. And during the story, Miss Merkley, her teacher, has helped her to make some revisions, and some peers have helped her to make some revisions as well. And so it's really a sweet moment when she decides that this second ending is way, way better, and it makes me feel proud. I love it. She just has such confidence and joy in her voice. And lastly, from this book, this is the moment where she takes her book to the retirement home where Oma is living. And she says, "I ran up and told Oma I had the greatest, the most special thing to share. I sat down next to her and read my story." And it's a really, really sweet moment what happens there at the end. But I just love the joy that she finds in her writing. Here's a couple favorite quotes from Stella in Stella Writes an Opinion. Now in this book, of course, she writes an opinion, and it gets published and shared with the principal. And at that point, she changes her school. A couple of my favorite quotes here. Oh, when she's first talking about an opinion, she says, "Everybody has opinions, everybody. And what could be more fun than to write about what you think about an important topic?" Now that's power. And that's what this book shows, is if students use their voices, they can write opinions that can have powerful effects on the world. In fact, here at the end, she says, "Who knows what we opinion writers might change? The world needs us." Pretty powerful stuff. This one, Stella in Class Information Experts, she writes about chameleons with the help of her class and her teacher. And they decided to write about chameleons for a very genuine reason, but a couple of the quotes that I love here. "Woohoo! We've done this kind of writing before. It's exciting to find answers to our questions. Being an expert feels pretty good." Again, all of this is there in Stella's voice, but it's there to encourage your students to get excited about becoming experts and finding answers to their questions as they do research. Another one, they struggled in the book. The class struggled with coming up with a good introduction and a good conclusion, and they finally do. And Stella reads it back. "What animal can change colors, look in two different directions at once, and catch prey with the flash of a tongue? Chameleons can." We were in love. And I love that line because they've worked so hard, and now they have this text that they feel very proud of and that they absolutely love. They end up sharing it with the school. And something here at the very end of the book that I love, showing again the skills that she's built throughout the story and her confidence and how it's built. She says, "You're thinking that was a ton of work. Well, you're right." This is after finishing publishing the book. "But it was also fun. And now we're not just chameleon experts. We're on our way to becoming informative writing experts too. I'm ready to start investigating my own questions." So again, it's all about moving kids towards independence, feeling independent as writers and having strategies to be able to write the kinds of texts that they want to write and feel good about their attempts. Lastly, I wrote a book, Stella Poet Extraordinaire, about teaching poetry throughout the entire year. And some of my favorite quotes here from Stella. the very beginning, she says, "Have you ever thought about being a poet?" She talks about how her teacher introduces poetry on the very first day of school. And so she's inviting students in right away, right there at the beginning. Here we have Stella again talking about how they're all sharing their ideas about poems. She says, "We share our thoughts for a few moments, making a lot of connections to poems we could write," because they're listening to the teacher read some aloud. Usually when somebody shares a little bit, someone else gets an idea. Ideas just ping pong all over the place. And again, I love that quote because the idea is the more we share with each other, the more we get ideas for our own writing. And the exclamation point, the excitement in her voice about getting ideas from other writers. And here towards the end, she talks about she says, "Let me just give you a warning. Poetry can really hook you. And if you read the book or share it with your students, you'll hook your students in writing poetry throughout the year for a variety of reasons." So now let me get to my big announcement. Something funny happened a couple months ago. On Facebook, I got a message from a teacher, and she said she was frantically looking for copies of the Stella Writes books because she already had the set, but she lived in mortal fear of losing one of the books. And I got such a chuckle out of it because I thought, oh, a teacher writing to me about her mortal fear of losing Stella. Well, she had gone on Amazon and found that the Stella Writes an Opinion and the Stella Tells Her Story were being sold for like $800 because they were out of print. What happened? Well, fear no more. Luckily, SDE has done a wonderful job with the Stella series, but Scholastic has now decided to take them over. And we've been working on them. They've been completely revised, and they are in printing right now, and they will be out by mid-June, all four of the books in a set. What a great thing to see when I got on Amazon today to check on the Stella books. Not only are they available for pre-order, but they are the #1 new release in elementary education. That's how excited people are about these books. And I'm really thrilled about the partnership with Scholastic because I'm hoping that we get more of these books into classrooms around the globe. The 4 books are available for $24.95 for pre-order right now. You can also order them individually for $7.99, but you may already have known this news either by looking on Amazon or seeing the latest Scholastic Teacher Resources catalog, because the Stella Writes series is featured a couple of times in it. Here in the box set section, it shows the 4 books for $24.95 or the $7.99 per individual book. So I hope that you'll stay connected with me through Stella. I have a Facebook page called Stella Writes. Scholastic and I are working on a new website for the Stella series, which will include video, lesson plans, samples. I've also written a new teacher's guide for the set of 4 books. Please feel free to contact me, leave messages or comments on this video. Feel free to share it. Also, just connect with me via Stella Writes on Facebook or via my other Facebook page, Literacy Matters. Thanks so much. Let's see where Stella goes.